The first thing that needs to be said is that Wladimir Klitschko's decision to retire rather than face Anthony Joshua's bludgeoning fists again is an extremely wise one. Klitschko has obviously thought long and hard since he was stopped in 11 rounds by Joshua in their epic battle at Wembley Stadium before 90,000 ecstatic British fans 3 months ago. Wladimir Klitschko's bloodied face in his fight with Tyson Fury in 2015. Anthony Joshua knocked out Wladimir Klitschko in front of 90,000 people at Wembley, and the obvious conclusion he has come to, which I share, is that if he did invoke the return clause in his contract, Joshua would have beaten him again, only quicker. Looking back on Klitschko's remarkable career, anyone not steeped in boxing and relying on statistics alone could argue that the giant 6 feet 6 inches Ukrainian they called Dr. Steel Hammer was the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. Wladimir, after winning the super heavyweight gold at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, turned pro. During the next 21 years he held the WBA, IBF and WBO titles, won 64 of his 69 fights and scored 53 knockouts, mainly with his lethal left hook. He made 23 successful defenses, and only the immortal Joe Louis with 25 had more. In all, he had 29 world championship fights. And he defeated 12 men who had held the title and 10 who were unbeaten until they faced WLAD's steel hard fists. Tyson Fury weighs in on the Amir Khan, Faryal McDoom and Anthony Joshua drama. Paulie Malignaggi reveals his side of what went on in explosive Conor McGregor camp after quitting over picture of him being knocked down. Floyd Mayweather reveals ripped body ahead of Conor McGregor clash as UFC star Nate Diaz is tipped for ring walk. Mayweather vs McGregor, biggest in boxing betting history, with £11.3 million wagered with one bookie. Ricky Hatton shares revealing picture with topless woman whilst partying in Magaluf. Amir Khan's shame as long-rumored cheating sex tape filmed weeks after his wedding is leaked. British boxing star O'Hara Davies left fuming after vandals scratch Ho into luxury Audi and smash wing mirrors in mindless attack. Boxer Paulie Malignaggi claims he gave Conor McGregor a beating in a sparring session. Wladimir Klitschko at the start of his career in 1997. Anthony Joshua fells Wladimir Klitschko in his thrilling victory over him at Wembley in April. Wladimir Klitschko shows off dance moves in training ahead of Joshua boxing bout. Wladimir Klitschko poses with 5 belts after a press conference in 2015. Wladimir Klitschko with his actress girlfriend Hayden Panettiere. There's no doubt Klitschko must be considered one of the all-time greats with an assured place among the top 10. But where he is placed will be the subject of much debate. Because as good as he was, I don't believe Wladimir can be ranked above Louis, Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, Joe Frazier or Mike Tyson. Klitschko was the product of Eastern European amateur coaching, was technically brilliant, but I'm afraid he was considered robotic in the ring. Wladimir Klitschko during his victory over David Haye in Hamburg in 2011. Wladimir Klitschko with the WBA Continental belt in 1999. Vitaly and Wladimir Klitschko visit their parents Nadia and Vladimir in Kiev on October 1998. Despite his talent and his power, he never had charisma, and he wasn't popular in America, where it mattered. He only fought in Las Vegas once. Though the hotel casino bosses on the Strip will be bitterly disappointed, Vegas won't now be staging Joshua Klitschko 2. They were looking forward to the first heavyweight fight with a global appeal since Mike Tyson sank his teeth into Evander Holyfield's ear 20 years ago. We've got all the latest boxing news, gossip, results and live fight commentary. South African Corey Saunders and Lamont Brewster knocked out Klitschko early on, and it was feared WLAD was suffering from the heavyweight's biggest curse, a glass chin. It was then the late Manny Seward, the Hall of Fame trainer, came into his life, and during their 8-year partnership Klitschko flourished. 27 years ago, I started my journey in sport, and it was the best choice of a profession I could have ever made. Because of this choice, I traveled the world, learned new languages, created business, built intellectual properties, helped people in need, became a scientist, entrepreneur, motivator, hotelier, trainer, investor and much else. I was, and I still am, capable of doing all this because of the global appeal of sport and boxing, my own talent, and most importantly because of you, my loyal fans. At some point in our lives we need to, or just want to, switch our careers and get ourselves ready for the next chapter, a new course and fresh challenges. Obviously, I'm not an exception to this, and now it's my turn. I'm honestly doing this with greatest respect for these new challenges, but also with tremendous excitement, passion, dedication, expecting and hoping that my next career will be at least as successful as my previous one, if not even more successful. Finally, instead of just saying, hey, thanks and goodbye, I want you to continue joining me in this new and exciting journey. When we're together, we're more creative, more efficient, more productive and simply stronger in every way. together were the driving force. Muhammad Ali watches George Foreman head for the canvas after being knocked out in the 8th round at Rumble in the Jungle. Vitaly and Wladimir Klitschko with their father Wladimir. Wladimir Klitschko lost to Tyson Fury in 2015, although he still had that innate caution inside the ropes that didn't endear him to the fans outside of Germany, where he is idolized. Wlad, who has a PhD from Kiev University, is not surprisingly one of the most erudite fighters I've met in more than 50 years. He speaks 5 languages fluently and he can make jokes in English. Wladimir Klitschko knocks out Tony Thompson of USA in a heavyweight title fight in 2012. Wladimir Klitschko walks off after losing to Tyson Fury in 2015. There's no doubt in my mind the young Klitschko would have finished off Joshua after he had floored him in the 6th round at that never-to-be-forgotten night at Wembley. I'm sure Wlad took advice from Big Brother Vitaly, the former world heavyweight champion who is now mayor of Kiev, before announcing he was hanging up his gloves. At 41, it is the only sensible course of action. Wladimir deserves the respect and affection of fans around the world. But somehow he lacked that vital spark that would have made him loved. Anthony Joshua shows off new Muhammad Ali TV after a massive Klitschko W. Helen Chamberlain, 50, quits Soccer AM after 22 years on the famous sofa. Arsenal legend Tony Adams strikes £200 million agreement to buy Crystal Palace. Arsenal willing to offload Gabriel as Spanish side Valencia, plot £10 million move for Brazilian defender as Jose Mourinho says he will fight to sign Gareth Bale. Is this the Welsh Wizards' final training session with Real Madrid? Arsenal have had a lack of leaders for too long and I have a horrible feeling it will be the same this term. Jose Mourinho set for talks with Old Trafford chiefs over plans for a tour of China next summer. UEFA to allow water breaks for Man Utd's clash with Real Madrid due to soaring 40°C heat in Macedonia. Southampton plot £30 million move for Middlesbrough star Ben Gibson to replace Virgil van Dijk.